What's happening, everybody? It's your man, Dame D, NYDC, two mics up. We back again. Yo, this is the third part of Black History Month, that real series and that real talk conversation. And today, joining me on the mics, that's right, I said plural, because I have two amazing guests. And one is a surprise, really. Haven't haven't had the pleasure of chopping it up with one of our guests for a while now. And I think you all are going to be pleasantly entertained, probably shocked. Some of y'all going to be like, whoa, damn, is she back? But I think I've, you know, teased just enough. Check me out, Dame D, NYDC on IG, Facebook, and Twitter. So I'm going to tease a little bit longer because I just want y'all to hold on just a little bit. But I think that's enough. So first up, this sister is one of the baddest event planners in the area. She does some great things on her channel and her platform. I'm gonna go ahead and bring our first guest to the mic, Miss Tanisha Watson. T, what's happening? What's going on with you today, sis? How you doing? I love the colors. I love the energy. What's going on with you, sis?
Hey, y'all. Hey.
Hey.
I am excited to be here. Thank you, Dane, for the invite. I am just ecstatic to talk about our subject matter today as we are in Black History Month. Hey, power to people, right. And we are Black history. So I'm happy to be continuing to make history as part of the two mics up.
Thank you so much, sis. I really appreciate it. And look, we're gonna get into, she is Tanisha. Hey, y'all. Hey, we're gonna talk as we close out today, so y'all don't go anywhere because I definitely want you to stay tuned and follow Tanisha and all the great work that she's doing with her platform and everything. But last but not least, this one right here, my cut buddy, my cohort, sidekick, partner, whatever you want to call it. We just get down. We just been getting down for the longest. She's the original queen of Two Mics Up. I'm gonna go ahead and bring her to the mic. Yo, it's my sister Alisa Middleton. What's good, sis? What's going on with you?
Hey, bro. Hey, Two Mic family. Hey, Tanisha. I miss you guys.
Hey, look, I've missed you, been missing you. We've been missing you. And I'm just glad to have you back. I'm glad to see your smile. I'm glad to see that energy. And I see that devilish look. We ain't seen that one in a while either. But Lisa's here today, though, to really hold it down with myself and Tanisha. We are digging into Black History Month, with the Real Talk series. And today, I have these two queens on because I thought it would be great to really talk about where we are with Black Lives Matter. Like I said, this series is not about historical figures or events. We want to talk about things that are really impacting us today. And Black Lives Matter has become, at one point, it was like the pinnacle of the movement. But now we're a few years removed, T. I see you shaking your head. We're a few years removed now. The whole George Floyd, the Breonna Taylor, all of the things that kind of, I don't want to say promoted, but snowballed or helped Black Lives Matter really grow. And I'm just curious, since 2013, things have changed, with Black Lives, how it really started, its structure, its organization. And I'm just curious, and I want to start with you, T. Do you think that it has become for the better? And when I say better, has the organization become better? And what it's doing for our community? Has it made a huge or larger impact? And Lisa, don't turn because you're turning your head. But I'm gonna start with T because I don't see it. I'm gonna start with T.
Look, because that just a little side note, you have what we call on here today R&R.
Yeah, okay, look, and they ain't ready. I don't even know if they ready.
So the both of us. But I will say, when we talking about for the better, I'm not so sure about for the better. Okay. And again, that this is from my perspective, and as they say out in the social media world, IMO, in my opinion, I don't necessarily think for the better. I was, you talked to me about the questions we talked about what we were going to talk about, and I reflected just a bit, and um, I, I went a little deep, and I broke down the three words: Black lives, and then matter. And one of the things that, for me, there's a fact: we're Black.
Yes.
So those are facts. We are living, so lives. Then the matter piece is just where, I don't know, it gets a little blurry for me, because when you say Black Lives Matter, I'm still thinking of, because lives and we're living, but yet we have those who have died, tragically, at the hands of, the police and those things out there. However, the matter pieces is just where I'm stuck, because I think that life, and I believe that all three of us on this today, we believe that life is something we know we can't get it back. It's not something we take for granted. And so when you just talk about matter, it do our Black lives really matter? And so that is just for me. I'm stuck there, and hopefully, as we evolve in this conversation today, I'll be able to, maybe fill in some more blanks when it comes to that word. And so I'm just going to start there. That's where I am. We're Black. We have lives, but do they matter?
And I think that's a very good point, because we are, and I like how you dived into it from that viewpoint, because we are at a crossroads where we are being assassinated at a rate of pace that we haven't seen in this manner, because of the way social media is and the instantness of everything. It's in your face every day.
Right.
I think we came from a time that, our parents and our ancestors kind of came from. It was known in the community, locally, where people were affected. But now we're seeing this on such a global stage, and it's instant now. And I will agree with you. I get the Black and I get the lives, but do we matter? I think that's a really good question and a really good viewpoint that you brought up, that we really need to look at internally first as a group and have that conversation. How do we matter to each other? How do I resonate in your life, T? How do I resonate in your life, Lisa? And how do we make that matter? How do we make that connection matter? So I appreciate you bringing that up, because I think that was a very astute viewpoint to take. Lisa, I see I've been trying to put the brakes on, but I'm about to unleash, because I know what the rock and the lean mean. I know what it means. So go ahead, sis, because you've been holding on to this one. So go ahead.
I think that what Tanisha is saying is very poignant and relevant, because, and what you added, Dame, together, because it's my point exactly. Yes, do we matter? But why do we care if we matter to others? It has to matter enough with us as a whole, right? Because does it matter enough that we watching 13-year-olds on in front of our eyes be killed by the police, 12-year-old? But what are we doing? Does it matter enough for action? Does it? And you brought up our ancestors' name and said, yes, they were locally in the community, but it mattered enough for them to take action, right? In that community. It mattered. So with social media, I think what social media takes out our humanity, and it just makes desensitize us to the point that now it's like we're just watching TV. Yes, we're hurt. We are traumatized. When we see these images, like I didn't watch the recent image of that. I just wasn't going to re-traumatize myself. But when we see a George Floyd, and we are traumatized, but are we traumatized enough really to movement, to banding together, to action as a whole, no matter your religious belief, no matter your sexual orientation? Does the color of our skin matter enough to bind us together in a revolution, to realize that we, Black people, are a nation within a nation? So we can't, like all these isms, colorism, classism, all of these things, does it matter enough to put that aside to fight for the common cause?
See, you ladies, you both touched on it, right? And I love how this was all brought together in one piece, right? Because you're right. We have to get out of our own way. I'm just gonna call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get out of our own way. Stop using everyone else for or every other situation as a crutch, right? Because I look at it, we look at all of these other cultures that came after us and all of these races that came after us that have figured out a way to collectively come together and put themselves and get themselves a seat at the table.
Mm-hmm.
We have been doing this for 200 plus years, seems like, and we still can't get it right. And I will agree with you. We have become desensitized because I will agree. I haven't watched the last couple, and a short side note. I've had a couple of people reach out to me. Dame, hey, you don't really talk about the George Floyd's type situations and different things. I'm like you, Lisa. I've kind of become desensitized in the sense that I don't want to re-traumatize myself over the hurt, the pain, the anger, because when I look and to get to the Black Lives Matter organization, I think it's become structurally sound like any other Black organization where
Right.
now it's become we're conditioned on seats, if you will, people being put in the position, but we're not acting anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know too from both of you, like, how do we get back to the act? Like, do you either of you have a way of like, what can we do to get back to the activism part? Being active and trying to make change, because to me, that's the piece that we've all walked away from. Seems like this is my perception. And Lisa, I'm going to start with you.
Get back to grassroots.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm,
Grassroots matter.
mm-hmm.
Right? We want to talk about what
Yes.
matters. BLM as an organization, when they started that foundation and started taking corporate money,
Yeah, yeah,
now because I believe in the mantra. I believe in the mantra Black Lives Matter. I
right.
can get behind that. I can get behind even the movement, but the organization,
Mm,
and
mm-hmm.
I don't know. You know
Right.
why? Because you're taking corporate money. So that means that now you got this person in front, this person. We forget the grassroots because
Mm-hmm.
now you have the money. So
Yeah.
if you are now with this foundation and these people are now with allegations that you buying houses with this
Yeah.
money, it takes it takes the movement and
Mm-hmm.
ties it into the organization. So now people are like, we see
Yeah.
that this is happening and BLM is a frost or a frost. And now, because
Mm-hmm.
we see all of this, what grassroots is where it should be. Right? Because
Agreed.
if
Mm-hmm.
you are really about pushing the movement forward, then it has to be done all day, every day, 24 hours a day. It can't
Yeah.
just be when somebody gets killed in the street and it's on nationally. You know what I
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
mean?
I
That's
agree.
right.
Yeah. That's
We have
right.
to start looking, and as a whole, I'm going to be really quick because I can go off on a tangent, and I'm not.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Go
ahead.
off, sis. Go
Go ahead.
off.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But as a people, we should be attaching ourselves to things that we think matters in our movement.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not a BLM or BLM like in your local area, then you find the people that's actually doing the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so if
Mm-hmm.
because I have people that would say to me back then, Dave, and you know
Yep.
this
Yeah.
too.
Yep. Yep.
The always is like, you want to talk about Black Lives Matter, but you got black people killing black people, but there's white people killing white
White
people as
people.
well,
Right.
right?
Right.
But you
Right.
also have people that really work in the community to stop
Stop
these
it.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you feel like that's your thing, then go and like get a part of somebody like my son, the general's activism with
Activism.
stopping
Yeah.
black men from killing black men. Like
Right.
Yeah.
he's in the street. You know what I'm saying? If you
Right.
have so much to say about Ben Crump and you think that he is a licensed, like he's, an ambulance
Right. Right.
chaser, if
He's
you
chasing
think
everybody.
that,
Every case in every ambulance. Here come Ben Crump.
right,
Yeah.
if that's what your thought is, and you really have a move and to do something, but you like, oh, Ben Crump, he rubs me wrong, then you find
Then
someone
find
like Lee
somebody. Yeah.
Merritt.
Right. That
You
push you.
don't let want like BLM rub you the wrong way, it shouldn't stop the movement. The
Right.
movement should be bigger than BLM. You
And
know
that,
what I mean? The
I think that's the
organization.
part. That's the part that I think people are missing. We get caught up, and we talked about this, and in this whole conversation series, just about where our leaders are and organizations, and where we feel like we have to tie ourselves down sometimes, like the old way. You had like that one leader. You had that Malcolm X. You had that Martin Luther King. You had that Jesse, I'm losing my but Reverend Jesse Jackson and
Hmm.
all the
Hmm.
things that people felt comfortable tying themselves to one. But when you look at the spectrum, there were multiple that spoke to
That's
everyone
right.
on a different level. And I think we really need to get back to that. So Tanisha, I'm curious to know from you on another note, because what I'm really going with is public opinion. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
do you feel that public opinion is or has changed about BLM itself?
And I have, but I'm going to take just a step back because I got to go back to a little bit to what
Sure.
I affectionately call her Aunt Lisa.
Okay.
What she said. And again, I'm going to break down the words grassroots, the
Hmm.
roots. What is the root of the thing that, and how did it start?
Yeah.
And why did it start? We can,
Mm.
think about the things that have happened, that's happening to Black people, but we know to whom much is given, much is required.
Mm.
But
Go
what
ahead.
I want to know is, even at the root of that thing, who started this? Are you willing to die for this?
Mm.
So,
Mm.
Martin Luther
Hmm.
King,
Hmm.
there's been some things that have come out about him that people want to try to say he's still a hero of mine.
Yeah.
However, he was willing to
To
die
die.
for
Hmm.
that thing.
Hmm.
So, and so the matter of public opinion, when it comes to the Black Lives Matter organization specifically,
Hmm.
I do think that it's been tainted,
Mm.
very much so. I don't know that they would be able to get back a place of prominence when it
Prominence.
comes
Yep.
to their reputation. For me personally, I do believe it's tainted based on some of the things that have come out in the allegations. I actually did go to their website, and
Hmm.
they are posting up there, I don't know, it's a 99 something, and I'm not
Right.
going to act like I specifically know what the form is, because that's not my lane. Nonprofits like that, I have an
Right.
LLC, but
Right.
so they posted that, and now we want to have transparency. But I don't think that it's all about that part for the transparency, which makes the reputation. What makes the reputation, again, is the root of the thing. How
Yeah.
did you start it and how you ended it? So the
Hmm.
people that started it, if that type of money caused you to be here in your heart, you were that person with $1.
Dollar.
So
Yeah.
when you had millions of them, that was still who you were. That
Agreed.
wasn't going to change you. So, because the Bible does say, "Who's faithful with little will be faithful with much,"
Mm.
and that is very true. So what we find is, and I'm even with all organizations, I do not like the heart of, I'm in it for the money.
Yes.
Because once you're in it for the money, it's
That's the
tainted
one.
already from
Hmm.
the root of the thing. So I don't know if they can necessarily bounce back from some of the
The actions that
things that are
have
said out
said.
there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
I get
we
you.
always
I
trying to
get
be
you.
careful to be,
I get you.
all of the alleged and
Yeah.
whatever,
Right. The alleged
You're right,
allegations. Yeah.
alleged,
Hmm.
because
Right.
don't come for me, because I ain't here
Right.
for
Right.
the
No.
smoke.
And
But
we're
I
not sitting
am
here.
here for
Yeah.
my people,
Hmm.
and as a Black woman, and who bore Black children, we definitely, it's just so much bigger than an organization. And for me, my organization started here in my home, the nucleus, and those things. So I don't Aunt Lisa, I'm totally with you about grassroots, going back to
Hmm.
how we started, and it simply starts just like most politics starts locally. You
Locally.
don't always have to be on a grand scale to make a difference, because
Mm.
what were those people doing in the little place where they were that maybe caused them to grow
Hmm.
to that level? Now, admit I have not researched them to that point, that maybe there was some things. So caveat, if they ever listen to this, they can
Right.
send me the receipt, and I'm here for it. But I do think that, And reputation does matter.
It
A
does.
good name is to be desired.
It
Again,
does.
quoting from the Bible. We all want a good name. And when you have an organization to that magnitude, a good name should be the main thing that you guys are worried about. The money will come
Yeah.
because you're helping and you're serving. And most of all, serving. Do they have a servant heart? Do they have a servant mentality? You know, because if you don't, organizations like that cannot stand. They just can't.
Man,
And so, and I that look,
T taking us to
yes,
church today, y'all. And the day that this is recorded, this ain't even Sunday. So I'm just gonna let y'all know right now. T taking us to church, but I mean it's real, and I think I really want to harp on the piece, one that the service part. You know, serving really has to be, like T said, rooted and ingrained in your DNA. And for me, that's why this platform means so much. This really is
it's awesome.
something that's ingrained in me. There are things that are bigger and grander than Damon, and I understand that. And it's not about that. It's about what I can do. And I say, and Lisa knows, we talked about it. If one person walks away from hearing this today or whenever they listen to it, then I've done my job. I've served, and I've called upon the service that I've been asked to do.
That's right.
I may not see it. Maybe I'm not meant to see it.
Mm.
But that's what service is all about. Sometimes you're rewarded in ways from things that you've done or served for others. You have no idea why you're being blessed with it, right?
Right.
And that's what you have to do. And I think what we're all talking about here, even with Black Lives Matter, and the reason why I thought it was important, you know, we were sitting around, my family and I and the team, we were just talking about it, and it became a thing like, well, not to say where are they, well, where are they?
Well, where are they?
Right, you know, and that's really what it was, Leach. You know,
We'll
like,
wait.
right, and that was the thing, and I had the hardest time really coming up with a, I don't want to say a positive answer, a real tangible answer. And we've grown into everything, and this is part of it. Going back to the service, the fear of, okay, so when you do become blessed, how do you stay to your service part and not to the part that you feel that you're obligated to because there's payment behind it, right?
Yes.
And with that part though, now we're in these continued social movements. Does Black Lives Matter still have a place? Because it sounds like yes, they do. But now we're back to what it is. It's not for everybody. And what'd you say, Lise?
They have a place.
But it's not
They
for
do.
everybody. But it's not for everybody.
Well, I think that if we can separate the organization from the movement, we may be okay.
Okay.
Because of course the organization has been tainted.
Right.
So the organization itself has been tainted, but we have to be really careful and intentional how we move with this because the organization has done exactly what white supremacy would want.
And that's where I was going. Speak
right?
Right.
So crabs in a barrel, this
Okay.
much, because you got to remember how we got to this place.
That's right.
Right? So we can never forget that the man, in a lack of better words, the man has done his job on us.
Okay.
As a people.
As a people, as a whole.
He's done his job on us.
Yeah.
As a people. Because we're hundreds of years later and we are divided as ever. As a
more divided as ever.
That's right.
So you have this organization that's getting momentum, right? And all across the world. We're not even talking about United States. This is catching
worldwide
on across the world. This movement had the potential out of 2020 to really change the world. It was shaking up the United States so bad that it was forcing these companies to look at the racial disparities even inside the house.
Exactly.
When you change your aunt your mama, right? Now,
right. This is true.
We had a problem with aunt your mama.
She ain't bothered nobody, but all of a sudden, right? No, you're right.
Now we done took the lady legacy. We done took her money. We said we don't want that, but we didn't say that. They said that because now they're looking in the mirror saying, "Oh, this racist," and now so they're changing things, and now too much is going on, right? So it's just a snowball effect, and now they handed money hand over fist. Look at me, I'm not racist.
Right.
Companies that are racist to their core because America is a corporation that is racist, ran by a corporation. So
Ran
let's
by a
go.
corporate. Yep.
Right?
Keep it real. Keep it
Right.
real.
Okay. So now it's just the snowball effect. Now when these corporations and entities like Hollywood and all of these places are now taking hold to what we've been screaming, and they're changing these things. Look
Mm-hmm.
what rose up out of that. Oh,
Mm.
now you're woke. So
Yeah.
now we have the
Right.
Mm.
anti-woke movement. So we
Mm.
said
Mm-hmm.
Black Lives Matter, we got Blue Lives Matter, but we
Yeah.
haven't heard
Yeah.
from Blue Lives Matter since the death of
That.
the young
Yep.
man, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Recently, they're
Yep.
gone because
Yep.
it
that's
was
right.
just anti to
To what
anti-blackness,
black light. Right.
right?
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is what woke is, because
Yep.
woke is so bad now,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, it's terrible.
According to Republicans, the
Mm-hmm.
woke movement. So now they're anti critical race theory, which they have
Yeah.
even no idea what that is,
Right.
right? So
Right.
they anti everything black under the guise of
Well.
wokeness,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep.
So BLM is kind of still rolling the movement, but I think that it's a little obsolete because we are fighting, but we really need to pay attention. We
Mm-hmm.
still disassociate with the organization, but stay connected to the movement and
Mm-hmm,
watch
mm-hmm.
what's
Mm-hmm.
going on the opposition. Because while we're here talking about an organization, you got Ron DeSantis doing the prototype for America. Watch Florida, because
Yeah,
Yeah.
we about to be, that's the prototype. So we
Right.
yeah,
have to pay critical attention to how things are getting ready to be done and how
You.
we as a people are willing to rise up,
But see,
because there's nothing is going to happen until we rise up.
right.
and that's the question though, because I mean now we getting really to the meat of it, right? Rising up. Rising up looks different to a lot of people. And I think in rising up, everybody has a role to play because rising up does not necessarily mean by arms or
Mm-hmm,
any type of
mm-hmm.
force of violence. We have so many uh people that are so intelligent. We have social media, we have artists, we have entertainers, we have doctors, we have lawyers. How and again, I'm touching on something that's like how do we get past, because I've come to understand why we don't do it anymore. And when I say
Mm-hmm.
we don't unify anymore, it's because of fear. We talked about, and I talked about this in the second segment of this series. Really, we so-called believe that we have risen to a certain level. you know
Mm-hmm.
they want us to believe that we're making more money now than we ever, and we're really
Capitalism.
not. But
Yeah.
we're really not. But we don't unify anymore because we're afraid of, one, that I have too much to lose, right? Second part is history has kind of shown us, though, every time we rise up, i.e., Black Wall Street, different cities and communities that were people of color that have thrived and done well, people have been burned down, murdered, lynched, and all type of other things.
Mm-hmm.
So rising up, like I'm curious to know from you ladies, from your perspective, like how do we get connected and start a rise, start a change within our community? Because that's where, again, all of this really centers around us. So how do you propose that we as Black lives that do matter, how do we get to that point? And T,
Mm.
I see your eyes going. I'm gonna start with you, T.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Because
gonna
that's a
start with
good
you.
question.
Well, my initial thoughts are, and I say this all the time as an Army brat, worldview.
Mm,
Um, you guys are like, I know you guys, but you guys are from New York.
right.
I had a whole different worldview
Mm,
coming from, being a military family. I went to high school in Hawaii, California. My roots are from Texas, and that's where I'm from.
mm-hmm,
But I lived in multiple places, and I lived around a lot of different people. And when my schools were always completely diverse, I had a conversation with a really good girlfriend we all know, and I was explaining to her that even when we were coming up, places we lived in, like Oklahoma, it was a big deal to find out what the songs were. You guys had it because you were in New York.
Right,
It was just always there.
right, right,
But,
right.
so when we say rise up, down and even Texas, even though it's south, it still is not the south,
Right.
and Texas has its own culture, and so how do we come together as our different cultures, from our different worldviews of,
Mm,
Black people that are all over the United States and abroad, but I'm talking about Americans,
right.
um, and so how do we come together, because somebody in New York is fighting a whole different scenario than somebody in California, the LA
Mm,
and Compton situation, and they see things differently.
mm-hmm,
Of course, we all know my first eyes opening to anything with Cops Child was that movie Colors,
mm, mm,
and so and then what KRS-One came out with a song Black Cop Black Cop. So my experience was never that on the streets in that way. Of course I have experiences, and this is not what this show is about, talking about things that we have gone through. But I think we all, at first we need to start with a mutual respect of each other, and where we are different.
mm-hmm,
We're the same but different.
mm-hmm.
So, again, Northerners might have a different fight than Southerners. It looks a whole lot different
Yeah,
than,
yeah.
and then the Midwest, has their whole situation, and then we've got the West Coast. So, and I'm going to go all the way back to sort of the beginning, because, Dane, you talked about something and you said, how do these other cultures come, and they come together and there is one.
Mm-hmm,
And the one thing that I will say, and I'll stand on this to any culture, and I'll stand on it. You give me and we'll say whatever American that they call themselves, they
right.
all have a whole other flag that they can fly, and
Mm,
we don't.
mm,
To include our other Black
mm,
Jamaicans can fly their flag.
mm,
Bahamians can fly that. We have no other flag.
mm,
We can go and do all of that ancestry and this, that, and the third. So now, we don't have no one common thing that they do, but we're all different, but we're all the same.
mm.
Aunt Lisa, we talked about our grandmothers. My granny had a lot of similarities. We laugh about that, because so there are those things that are innately in us that are the same things that I just learned about the Hoosier State today, thanks to my husband learning something about why it's
Indian,
called that. And it was actually a Black man,
a black man.
and
Mm-hmm,
what he did. So I never knew that, and I learned
mm-hmm.
that today. But, and the migration and those things that happened to Chicago. And then we took some things with us. But remember, Northerners say, don't bring all of that Southern stuff over here.
Mm-hmm.
We trying to be different now. And
Mm-hmm.
so and then this now touches back on Aunt Lisa's point of coming together. We've got to have something where we come together as one.
Mm.
And once we do that, and I get it that you're different, you may be, you're Northern and I'm Southern, I'm a Texan and the West Coast, but having that common thing that we are all, just like that Dr. Martin Luther King wanted us, we're one. We're the human piece of all of us, Black people. We all came from our mother's womb. So
Mm.
I think that and I don't know if we're ever going to get that piece together, because our culture is different even in the United States amongst each other, not in a bad way, it's
No.
just different. And again, now we have to come from that worldview, because I am an Army brat. So my worldview is way different than somebody who grew up in Compton,
Mm.
even from my cousins who
Mm-hmm.
grew up in Texas. They didn't leave Texas, or even their towns coming up, where we were come to Texas, but we're back out, So
I
how I
like
see things is just a whole different way
I
sometimes.
I like that. I like that part because I think that is very you brought up a very valid and probably not even valid, probably the biggest piece is we are all different. We all, if you will, like you said, live in our own many worlds. Being from up north, Lisa and I share, like you said, the commonality of being in New York, growing up in New York.
Mhm.
That is a different world. It is a different mini world for a person of color versus, like you said, someone yourself who experienced maybe a more global view. And I had another friend on in another series. He,
Mhm.
he too was military, and he was a 20-year vet, and a lot of things that he talked about kind of was similar to what you're saying. Because he was overseas for so much, he never really got to see or experience a lot of the things that sometimes we may talk about here. So it was different for him. And I want to say this because I think the most important part that I'm walking away with is we have to learn that that doesn't make you less black, because then that's what we do to ourselves. It makes you less black. You know what I'm saying? And I think,
Right.
and I want people to hear this because I think that's a really important, and I think that should be the tool then to kind of get out of our own way.
Mm-hmm.
Have that understanding, have that conversation that, you know what, it's fine that you're not from New York. New York is
Right.
not the end all be all. We may think it is, but it's not the end all be all, right? And it doesn't make you any less black because you're from Texas, or because you weren't here to experience the things that traumatized me as a person in New York.
Right.
You were traumatized by something totally different that I could probably never relate to. But I have to respect it. I have to understand it to get on the same page. So I thank you for sharing that, because that just gave me a whole new perspective, on that point. Lisa, go ahead, because we double dutching. Your turn. Go ahead, get on up in there, because I see you. Right, I see it.
I just think that what should everyone is going to have different views, different takes on things, but what is the commonality? Right? What makes you my brother and what makes you my sister?
It's good.
What is the commonality amongst us all, whether you were in the army or whether you lived in New York or you lived in wherever, Hawaii, Oklahoma, Nebraska? If your skin color is this the same, and you
Right.
see institutional wrong, if you just see wrong, if you
That's
just
right.
see ingrained wrong, whether it be in schools with the students not learning who they are, which we know that was coming because we were making stride in schools.
Strides. Yeah.
So it just comes down to, are we going to go backwoods into our comfort zones and to the cloth of what divides us? Class,
Yeah.
Right.
sexism, hierarchy, you know, LGBT. Are we going to go
Right.
back into our comfort zone and say, well, I don't want to deal with you because
Right.
I make $100,000 and you make 20,
You're
or
right.
I'm not going to
Right.
deal with you. You're less important to me as a black
Black
person
person. Yeah.
because you're queer, gay, and I don't believe in that, and I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
Or are we going to go back to our core? Right, because we could think of a million things that divide us. Because again, the man has done his job.
He done his job. Yeah.
He separated us, but it's our way it's our task. We owe it to our ancestors to find our way back to each other and to find our way back and our strength to uplift each other in the fight. Now, like you said, maybe some of us are not ready to lay our life down for this cause, but maybe there are some that are willing. But you don't always have to die for it. Just recognize a difference. So even if we say, you got people that say, let's just take this voting, right? You have people who will say our ancestors died to vote, but I'm telling you that you are voting without a purpose today.
That's right. I
You're
agree.
just voting because you indoctrinated with a two-party system,
I agree.
right? Because here's the deal. Democrats and Republicans, we agree 90% of the issues. We agree.
Yeah.
But they're going to dangle that 10% to keep us divided.
That's right.
Right? Because you are an individual. So it's just mind blowing that what the tools that are used, and I'm just saying voting, for instance, because in the Black community, those are the same tools.
That's right.
We agree on 90 to 95% of the issues within our Black community, but we let 5% of division hold us back from moving forward.
That's right.
Because guess what? if I'm a Christian, which I am, and I am proud to be a
Mm-hmm.
Christian, and I'll say
That's
that
right.
on every platform, I'm not gonna deny Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I am a
Mm-hmm.
Christian, but I am not carrying your cross if you are gay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not carrying your
Mm-hmm.
cross. That ain't
Mm-hmm.
my business.
It's
No,
not.
that's
And it
it.
ain't gonna be
It's
my
not.
business when I die and confess my own sins
That's
to my
right.
Lord.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't asking me about
But
what Tanisha done
Tanisha did.
did.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did Tanisha scam the people and
Yep.
you
Yep.
knew it and you didn't do that and you got Tanisha slept with how many bodies she got in her tail? That ain't my business.
Nope. Nope.
Right.
The
No.
Lord ain't asking if David Cunningham
Sure not.
did whatever he did. He
Sure
ain't
not.
asking that of me.
Nope.
That's
So
right.
I don't care. Listen, I don't care what divides us. Dividing is the key. That's
Yep.
what
Yep.
is sent out and
That's it.
set forward amongst us. And we have Stockholm syndrome as
Yes,
a
we
Mm-hmm.
do.
people.
Mm-hmm.
We
We
do.
latched onto that division that was set upon us, and even as a cycle in our life today, because the two-party voting system is set upon us to either you vote here. Everyone said, "Oh, you vote for the lesser of two evils," or you rather be a house nigger, a house slave, or a field slave. You're
That's
still
right.
a slave.
No
Right.
matter how you cut it, you can
You
dress it up however you whatever makes you feel
voted
comfortable.
for lesser of the two
Right.
evils. You're
Right.
voting for evil.
Evil.
It's still
Right.
evil.
Right. Right.
That's
It's
facts.
still
That's
Mhm.
facts.
evil.
Well,
So they controlling us in
mhm.
so many, and we as a people we do it to ourselves because
Mm-hmm.
you'll have them fighting. Oh, black women, black men are now
Oh
pit
Lord,
against each other. All of
Lord,
this nonsense.
You're
it's
right.
crazy out here. So I'm going to throw that out. W- divisiveness,
Mm.
because I'm going to call that the root.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because that's the root. That's the root of how they started it, and that's the root of how we continue it. And we're seeing it more and more play out. You know, in our society. I guess they call it like one cancel culture at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this whole woke thing. When and this is probably not something that we can answer in one sitting,
Mm-hmm.
but when does it all end? Like the end game, because even I will use the pot. Like and you laughing, right? Because I'm curious. Because
Listen,
when is
bruh,
it?
we gotta come to grips with it.
You
It
know,
will
Yeah.
end when we say our truth, when we accept
but
our
see, and you
wrongs.
just said what I want to hear. Like, because how many of us though can stand here? Because I know when I've been wrong. There's a lot of times I go into something knowing I'm wrong. Yeah, look, I'm just
And
because
stand
I'm
10
a human
toes
being,
down, right?
and I'm 10 toes in. Yeah, look, that's the Taurus in me. First of all, you know what I'm
Committed
saying?
to the
I'm
wrong.
committed to it, and I know I'm wrong. And look, I tell people, look, I'm about to go. I know I'm wrong, but I'm going in 10 toes in. But that's
That's
the part.
right.
But I'm just saying, like, how do we, I'm really because I want this to be a thing where because part of me is, and we don't talk about it. We need therapy. We need help, right? And I don't know sometimes because our families are so broken down and divided now. Where you
Mm-hmm.
have, and I want to be very careful. I'm not identifying anybody, but when you have grandmothers that are 30 years old, 30, and y'all heard me. I said
Mm-hmm.
grandmothers that
Mm-hmm.
are 30 some years old. Their daughters are 20 or 18 and 19 with a baby. There's no more of that. Like, and I think we're all in a similar age group where we had that family unit
Mm-hmm.
where there was a tie. There was some type of therapeutic thing in there because grandma was always there. The aunties, the uncles were always there to kind of bring up support and kind of help guide you to become a better person. Like how, and I mean, I know this is a crazy question, but can we ever get back to that? Like, because I think that's really the root. Again, the divisiveness comes in because we're broken in so many
We are.
places.
We're
How do we,
hurt.
how do we fix that divisiveness one within our central family
Mm-hmm.
to be able to get back to really bringing our community? Because I think that's key. When I stand out, I think that's key to having that central family be able to fix the brokenness that we've created and the ripple effect of our communities and Black lives mattering. And
That's
I'm just curious to know what you think, Tanisha.
well, I think all of us will agree. Part of a lot of it in our Black community, fatherlessness.
Mm, preach.
Um,
Go ahead.
I just I grew up in a two-parent household, but
Mhm.
and my parents are now divorced. So, I always want to be full disclosure. They divorced after we were all three of us, three girls were adults.
Mhm.
Not that that makes it right, but I'm just making sure people don't. I'm not acting like they've been married all these years. But
I understand.
fatherlessness is,
Mm.
I mean, it's key. I I can go back to and again, there will always be a pharaoh,
Mhm.
and let my people go,
Right.
and so in our culture, we know that we had the family unit. I believe in ancient days of Africa, from where we all know we came from, and I even have Native American blood and all of that. I know that there was the fathers, were involved, and and we know when a lot of that happened, getting our fathers out of the homes, and
Mm.
that was very, very detrimental
Mm.
to the Black community. I just, and I know we our kids. I was in the hair salon today, and that conversation came up, and
Mm.
one of the barbers, he was very clear. I'm old school. I believe it should be two, the two in the home, the mother and the father, and I do agree with that, and I think that a lot of that piece of it, and then our boys, our men, our boys who are now men, and the things that they've gone through, and the trauma, not having the opportunity to you know heal. Everything was always, because
Mm.
even the upbringing that we've done, be careful of this, don't do that. We all got that growing up, boys
Yeah.
and girls.
Yeah.
Be careful about this. Mom and them didn't take us out looking on any kind of way.
That's
Your
right.
hair had to be
Yeah.
combed, because it was always
Yeah.
a thing about how we looked, and that thing. And I'll just bring up a quick thing about my pastor, out in Chantilly, actually Bishop now, Bishop Brett. He talked about a story about his grandfather always mowed the lawn in button-up shirt and slacks and
Mm.
his tie. And why are you cutting the grass like that? Because at any given time, he could be looked at, now where it's the sagging
Sagging
pants or
pants. Yeah.
whatever, because you're Black. So
Mhm.
he was very upright and upstanding in that way, because he had to be. You just didn't do certain things. Y'all know we couldn't um, put our hands in our pockets. And my mama didn't, we didn't walk in the store with our hands in our pockets. And
That's
you
right.
better not ask for nothing when
That's
you get
right.
in there, all
That's
those things.
right.
But
That's right.
it came from somewhere. So I still think that it has to go back for me. And I'm not talking about the widows, that to me, that's just a whole different story, because the Bible tells us about how to care for the widows. But I still think that the fatherlessness, I'm going to say too, we are and it's not just our community, the whole world, but because we're talking about our
No, that's yeah.
community, we are confusing the relationships, with the man and woman, to having children, with the covenant relationship. And
Understood.
so, I think that we have, gone to the point where, I covenant,
Mhm.
and i.e. the marriage,
Right.
is not a big thing. I don't need to do that. And now we have, because see, Aunt Lisa talked about the roots, and then see, we're
Yeah.
gonna go back, because see, when the wind blew, and then they we're talking about women's this, that, and the third. See, I read something the other day which was very interesting. They were fighting because they wanted to go to work. Black women was already working.
Already working.
So the
Yeah.
empowerment in that, because they had to.
You
So
had to. Yeah.
and I know we had some women and families during that time where the mothers
Yeah.
didn't. I know
Mhm.
we did, but I was just saying that was never a thing, that the Black man was holding you down because you
Right.
can't work,
Right.
or anything like that.
You
So
we was
now
already
we
working.
done jumped off into
Yeah.
this. We're fighting this. So what the problem is we got to stop fighting all these other fights and come back home to our babies, come back home to our husbands. And I'm not talking about the barefoot and pregnant thing. I
No.
want to make sure
No.
that
No.
our
Yeah.
audience do not ever get that twisted.
That ain't
But what
happening
I am
today.
saying is home really is a place. It really is. And you don't have to click your heels 3 times either to get there. So we got to get out of that fantasy land of that, follow the yellow brick road and we're going to get somewhere, because we can build homes. Women, we can do that. We can
Look,
love our men and honor them and serve them and all the things while receiving love, and him, learning how to love us the way we need to be loved and honored and served. And then that will pass on to our
the
kids.
kids,
and
that's
and
right.
so some of our traditions that the just our women are raising kids,
But
and then we're bringing in the community to help and all of that. But I just think that back to home, and home again, you don't have to
and,
be, I
and
can't work or any, however your home
it
looks, but home is so important. You talked
is.
about it. You guys know, where you come from. Like, for me, Texas is a big, it's home, because there was things that, the roots
The
were
roots.
there, and I was
Hmm.
grounded from that, and my dad and mom sprouted out from there. But I was never confused that I was a Texan, because that was home, and so that I just think that, I don't know, home. I it
Well,
just That's just what's hitting in my spirit.
you hit it.
Home.
You hit it on a couple of points, and I will agree with you. So home is what we make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the most important part for me, that you touched on, is that we do have fatherless homes. And I can speak to that personally because I grew up without my father.
Mm.
So I can relate. And one of the things that I said that I would do when I started my own family is that no child of mine would ever understand what it's like not to be loved, to be empty. Because for a
That's good.
large part of my life, a piece of me felt empty. And the significant piece to that is now, when you talked about home and the woman, the black woman, I've said it before on the show, she has been made the
Mm.
head of the household
Mm.
because the black man has been removed so much and so far away. We don't know how to
Right.
lead. We don't know how to be in
Mm.
a place of power. When I say power, ladies, please understand me. What I'm talking about as the centerpiece, the foundation
I hear you,
of the
bro.
home. I don't mean power over
Come
anything
on,
else.
Dave.
You know
That's
what I'm
it.
saying?
Come
I'm just keeping it real
That's good.
because there's power in unity. The power that
Mm.
my wife and I have together, there's no one that can tear that down or take it away. Right.
Amen.
So
Yes.
I just want to be clear that I hope people understand what I'm saying. And again, though, I can only speak on this though now because I'm confident and I understand who I am today
Mm.
as a man.
It's a blessing.
There's a big difference. It's a big difference. So I'm not taking away anything. I'm sitting here with two powerful sisters all day, every day. And this is what I only want to be around. You understand what I'm saying? But as a
That's
man,
right.
you got to be comfortable in moving in that space. You have to know how to navigate that space. So I'm going to agree with you, but we need, and I'm going to leave it before I go to Lisa. I need our sisters to understand and our men to understand.
Mm.
Ask your spouse or your better half to help you become a better man because
Mm.
she's been given a power that was taken from you. So you need her help to get it back. And she
Ooh.
has to understand how to help you because if you don't ask, you won't get it. And I'm just going to leave it right there because this is a whole nother topic that is
Oh,
personal.
boy, you done slid into a whole nother sermon. Listen, baby, that's a whole
Yes.
nother show. You and Tanisha done went to series 5,
Hey,
6, and
look,
7, baby.
I just keep it real, you know? And I'm going to leave it at that because this is just something that's personal to me. This is
Mm-hmm.
something that is a part of me growing up as a black man in this country.
It's
So
good.
I know this piece all too well. So I'm going to move off my soapbox, and at least I'm going to allow you to go ahead and share, what you have to say to, and your comments as well.
I just think that we so complex, right?
Mm,
Because
Mm.
you, Tanisha, has spoken, you have spoken, and these are all our issues, along with other issues, but
Mm-hmm.
accountability,
mm,
right?
Oh,
mm,
If we are going to be united, let's
mm,
be accountable for our problems at
that's
home,
good.
mm,
That's
right?
good.
mm, mm-hmm.
Like Tanisha talked about home. Let's be accountable for the problems inside the house first.
Yeah.
If you
Mm.
find that you are inadvertently or unknowingly or maybe willingly be in classes. Let's say that
Right.
someone works at, you are wealthy, well off, and you find someone who's maybe working at Walmart, and you find yourself implicit, right? An
Mm.
implicit bias coming on you
Right.
because that person works at Walmart. Stop it.
Right.
Stop
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
Check yourself.
That's
That's
right.
the
That's right.
only way we're going to move forward, because classism is really big for us,
Sure.
because capitalism is a part of our society that we live in.
Keep
We
it
all
real.
That's
strive for
right.
that dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Stay humble to humanity,
Mm-hmm.
right? And be accountable. If
Love that.
you are a person that likes the hierarchy of a man being in the head, or you are the man, but you feel like you don't want to listen to a woman, or you
Mm-hmm.
feel like the hierarchy is you
Mm-hmm.
and a woman should be submissive. You
Mm.
Black women already know this. We
Mm.
get this unwillingly. I'm only going on you, Dame, because you went on this
Okay.
tension,
Okay.
so I'm kind of
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
so you right, we get off on it, like black women with this
Mm-hmm.
strong black women trope,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Yep.
men, and this is in our community. I'm just talking
Mm-hmm.
about us
That's
talking to
right. That's
us,
right.
our
That's
people.
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's
You
right.
got these hotep men that say that black women are the problem, that
Right.
black women are so strong that they don't know, they don't want men to lead. And I
Mm-hmm.
say that that's untrue.
It is untrue.
Agreed.
Black
Agreed.
women, strong black women, being that we are the highest educated demographic in this
That's right.
country
That's right.
and
Mm-hmm.
the highest demographic for entrepreneurship in this
Mm-hmm.
country,
Mm-hmm.
That's
we would
right.
don't have a problem. But who we submitting to?
Right.
Hmm.
That's the key.
Yeah, let's deal with our issue. Let's
That's the
That's
key.
talk.
that.
That's a
Yeah,
Let's
fact.
because
talk
I'm
with
not
the
following
issue.
anything.
And,
We don't have, and black women don't, we are actually I don't want to go there, but we listen, we don't have a problem with that.
Right.
So let's talk to those men who have that problem with us. And
mm-hmm.
let's talk to you to see why you feel that way and
Mm-hmm.
what shortcomings that you are projecting onto black
Mm-hmm.
women,
Black women.
that you're
That's right.
not rising to this occasion to
Mm-hmm.
be the
Mm-hmm.
man that's going to lead me,
Mm-hmm.
that I will submit to, don't have a problem,
Mm-hmm.
but you're
Mm-hmm.
not leading me to poverty.
And that's the key. And I think, and that's real talk.
And
'Cause
you ain't
it's the
leading me to hell either,
communication
right?
part. Man, it is. Because you ain't nobody. Look, I'm not going to have you. You ain't gonna follow me jump off no cliff, right? You don't work too hard.
Right.
You don't work too hard. I'm not, that, just because I'm your husband and your man, you gonna jump off a cliff. And I love the piece that you're saying. Like, address it. But we as men,
Let's address our
we have
issue.
to we have to humble ourselves. See, if we want the help, you got to humble yourself and submit to ask for the
Let's
help.
talk about it.
Let's talk
Let's
about it.
talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about, what are we doing as a community and
Yep.
within
That's
ourselves?
right. Within
Hallelujah.
We want
ourselves.
to fight the LGBT. That's a big part of separation in our community.
Yeah.
A
And we got
big
to learn
part.
to
Let's
we got to
talk about,
incorporate that.
we have to sit down and talk
Incorporate
about it.
incorporate
We
that.
don't talk about it.
Right.
We just say that they are a part of that community, not us.
Right.
But
Right.
before they were LGBTQIA plus, they were
They was
black.
they was one of us, right?
And they still are.
And they still are,
And they
right?
still are. So they still going through the double, like black women. Not
Right.
only are we black, we women. So we
Right.
got the double-edged sword. So
Right.
not
Right.
only are they black, they are in this community. So they got the double-edged sword. But we, oh, I ain't messing with no. Oh no, you gay? Oh no,
Nah.
because this and this. So we letting all of this division, right,
Mhm.
take us. If you are Christian and your brother is a Muslim,
Mhm.
you actually on the same path. You just have some small disagreements,
That's it.
some small different ways that you pray, and some small different beliefs. But if you down the line, and I'm not talking extremists on either side, I'm just
Right.
talking Christian and you are Muslim,
Muslim, yeah.
you it's, All the scriptures say for the greater good,
You know what?
for the
Even
greater good of humans, for the greater good of your brother. So why are we going to sit here and debate the little minute differences between the two religions when we
the same color.
got
And
really big?
big, right? And I was just going to say, see, and that's the part that I look at it when I hear talk to people Christian. Like you both, in the simplest form I can say, in the simplest way I can say it, you both agree on something greater than you, right? And this this power is giving you something that's about all of humanity. And if you can say yes to that, then what do I care? What do you call your God? Right? Well, I don't care
Because
about
I'm
that.
not here. This is not the setting to debate your issue. The setting is about Black lives. This is
Right.
Black
not the
lives.
setting to debate your religious divisions or your religious denominations that
Mm-hmm.
separate you
That's
and
right.
who's right and who's wrong and who's going to
Nope.
see God, who's not going to see God, who's going to hell. Again, not my
Not my
cross.
cross. Not my cross.
Again, if we can get rid of those things and just say that we're here for this and the betterment of this as a whole, and then you take it back to your community, your Christian
That's
community,
right.
your gay community. You take the goodness back because we all
Mm-hmm.
gonna fight this fight. We should be in this together.
Yeah.
We
Now,
really should.
I agree because my old pastor here in Dumfries, he had a saying, and it was before Black Lives Matter, and it was something that he instilled in the leaders. And this particular words he's been saying for years, and it's people matter.
Mm.
People.
Mm.
So we
Mm.
definitely, and I'm
Mm.
touching on your point, Aunt Lisa,
Mm.
when you talked about the Walmart, and it doesn't matter where you work and where eh, your dollar
People.
signs, your
That's
dots
right. That's
behind your
right.
zeros, but it's about people. People
Mm.
matter. You know,
Mm.
and as a Black woman, I want to be able to walk out my door and somebody knows she cares, no matter what color they are.
Yeah. What color
See, they
they
need
are?
to, we so now let's and I hate the mirror, but we've got to do the mirror. God, show me me. And so when He shows me, prayerfully I'm reflecting somebody who cares, so that a Muslim person walking down my street won't look at me and think, well, she just drove by me and I was
And
flat
distress.
tire or what,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
if I'm able to help. So I definitely want to be, when we begin to reflect, and I'm gonna, because I'm coming sort of full circle with the Black Lives Matter, and then we're with the people matter. But Black people, what are we projecting out even to other people in terms of that we care? Because it's still coming from here. So
Mm-hmm.
I can't be shooting it up with y'all, hey, he, ha, ha, ha. And then all of a sudden I'm here with another group and well, y'all don't, and I'm treating them a certain way. So now I've really still dismissed the Black Lives Matter
That's right.
movement within myself, because
That's
now
right.
I've gone out of the community and treated people a certain way and given our community a bad name.
Mm.
So when we pick up that mirror and we do see all the shades of the melanin, and it's all beautiful and I love it all, I'm rocking it, so I'm wondering, we have to make sure we're projecting
Mm.
who we want to be to even them, so that they see
Mm.
us as to who we are. When we unify and come together, is it a joyful, moment, that something that they want to be a part of, or they feel even comfortable, and I get it. I'm not doing we want y'all to be comfortable. That's not what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, because we're kind.
Right.
We're,
We're accepting of everything.
we are accepting, and that,
Yeah.
and like you said, I'm with you now, Lisa. I can't fight all yours because I got enough fights. I can't do them all. My energy and my strength can only do, but so much. And y'all know one of my main things is the gospel message must go forth. So that is,
Mm.
people knowing the gospel message is it. But finding the image of the Black Lives Matter. And I think it's been put on all of us inadvertently,
Mm.
what people think it is now, that we all must be. And,
Mm.
and we are all not. But
Mm.
coming together as a community, as one, and looking at whether you work at the Walmart, like Aunt Lisa said, or whatever, that the
Yes.
people matter.
Well,
It
I
They
think
doesn't
just
we
matter.
matter
I
because
think
in all these things, where are we going as a
mm,
society, as a
mm,
person, as people, as a nation inside of a nation? Where are we? Where do we fit in? Because all we doing is right now, to me, as a whole, I'm
Mhm.
speaking as a whole,
right.
is that we just getting along to get along.
Mm,
That's all
Mm.
we do. We just
mm.
navigating life, and we just getting along. I mean, because
No.
honestly, you know, where are the strides again as a
Mhm.
whole that we are making? Because if you sat and watched George Floyd die,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
right? That moved you a little bit. You were a little uncomfortable, but not enough to where we didn't shut anything down.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm.
didn't stop anything because we got so wrapped up in Donald Trump that we voted and thought Biden was going to do all of these things instead of, like, I've always been radical when it comes to
Yeah.
politics. I'm not jocking none of this, right? When it was time to hold a vote and black people went crazy on Ice Cube, and I'm still scarred from that. You know
Right.
Yeah.
how I felt about that day.
We talked about it. We talked about it on the show, and I'm
And look, here we are.
here we
Another
are, and
man
right.
has just been killed. Well,
Yep.
several have been
Yeah.
Several,
since George
several.
Several.
Floyd. I
Look.
mean, hundreds.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
but we're still here. And we
Mm-hmm.
still don't have the George Floyd Policing Act. We
We don't
still
have nothing.
we don't have
We had nothing.
we have
Nothing.
no
Zero.
protections, right? We have
Mm-hmm.
no protections. We don't even have hate crime against us as a law.
Look.
Like, we can't
Um,
even say you did this. Like,
I.
so as a people,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm only talking to black people, as a people, what are we doing?
Mm.
Yeah.
Well.
They know that we are so divided that we fighting each other. We fighting so hard in the inside. the
Right.
house, the
Oh.
house that we in
Right.
is shaking.
All
They
they
know
do.
that the
All they
house is
doing is
crumbling
standing on the
because we're
outside.
fighting each
Right.
other.
They standing on the outside watching us fight
They're standing on
all
the
day long.
outside, and
They're
then
on the outside.
everybody wants to get mad with Jewish people because
Ain't
they're
got time for that.
ahead.
Ain't got
Everybody
time
wants
for
to
that.
get mad with LGBT because they're
Ain't got
getting
time
their
for that.
legislation
Ain't
passed,
got
honey.
time for that.
And everybody's mad at the Asian crime, the Asian act. Why? Them people
Ain't
got to
got.
get their stuff
I.
together. They get what
I.
they need.
I ain't got
They
time
ain't
to.
give them people that. They fought for it. And they
You
didn't
Yeah.
said
really want to give them that, but they'd rather give them that
that.
instead of you.
Well,
That's right.
this is a whole nother. This is a whole nother episode that we're gonna bring. We're gonna have to bring back. This is a whole separate conversation. We've touched on it before, but I think what I'd like to do as we've come, we at the top of the hour. We've had some great conversation today, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you enjoyed it. We have a whole lot. There's a whole lot of meat to this. But what I want to walk away with, I think, from starting out the conversation, Tanisha so eloquently put it together. Black lives matter, and individual pieces. But I think the most important thing that I'm going to walk away with is it's not only black lives, but it's black people. We as a people
Mm.
matter.
It's good.
And until we can understand how we all connect and fit with each other, into each other's lives, into each other's community, which we can make our communities connect, whether it be street by street, block by block, city by city, state by state. It's the only way we can truly come to work together and do a lot of what Alicia's saying, like a lot of the other folks.
Oh,
Then you can worry about, your anti-hate bill.
Mhm.
These George, we're too separate and too divided to even sit down long enough to eat a piece of bread together because you want to worry about why am I putting butter on mine. Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and
Sugar on my rice.
right, I'm just trying to make this as simple as possible. We got to get past that
That's
because that's
right.
what's holding us back from the bigger things, the bigger picture. And until we can just really sit down and just eat a piece of plain bread together, and not dissect and destroy each other over that, then and only then, in my opinion, I think we can move forward. And ladies, I want to thank you both tonight during this recording for sharing a piece of you with me and everyone else, because it's really important. All of us, we're different. We all have different views.
Mm-hmm.
They all matter. We talked about that tonight.
That's good.
So I hope everybody walks away with that. Look at your neighbor, your friend, or the people that you call your friends. And matter of fact, tell them you love them. Tell them why you love them. You know, start that connection, start that bond, because I think it's important for us to be able to move forward, because it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any easier. And I think we've seen that continue to grow over the last couple of years, and I just don't see it coming to an end. So with that, ladies, I'm going to stop tonight's episode, but I do want, Tanisha, before we go, because I got to give you some airtime, some shine, go ahead and talk about, your platform and what you do here locally in the DMV area. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make sure we put all of Tanisha's information in the show notes. Want you to go out and follow, support this sister. Go ahead, anybody getting married, doing any type big events.
Land to a T, baby.
You understand what I'm saying? We have all the greatest event planners here in the DMV. T, please go ahead and take a moment to share your information.
Thank you, Damon. Thank you both for having me. I appreciate it. I remember when this was starting, and I'm just excited to have been at the ground roots of it all. And I'm Tanisha of Plan to a T, specializing in destination weddings. And so if you want to go to the Caribbean, Mexico, let me know.
Hey.
And also, I have the Giving Channel on YouTube. The Giving Channel _ is what it's called. And at the Giving Channel, we focus on giving to charities for our community and encouraging giving and changing the face of philanthropy. I will say it all day, every day, and I'll say it again. Philanthropy does not have to involve Oprah Winfrey level money. All of us can be philanthropists in our own way. So let's change the face of philanthropy, and let's start to give regularly and give consistently to help support the charities in our communities.
Look here, and make sure when you give from your heart.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Because the Lord knows if it's real or not. So
yes,
give from your heart. I'm just gonna put that exclamation point on it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go out and you support T. Like I said, her information is gonna be down in the show notes. Last but definitely not least, it's my sister, my queen of the show, sis. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a minute, man, because you ain't been on here. Well, you do whatever the heck you want. Go ahead. Just go ahead.
I know I've been going for a minute, but dealing with some challenges with my health, my eyes, my sight, actually. But God is good. I am back. My journey was long. And I feel like I'll talk about it somewhere down the line, but I am going to give praises to God for my journey, for where I am at. I needed all of that. Sometimes you just work, and doing, black life for me, doing, fighting the power and all of that. Sometimes God sits you down just to get you right. And I'm blessed, and I'm glad to be here.
Well, look, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Man, I'm just happy. I'm just happy, man. Two of the greatest people that I know, two of the greatest women in my network and in my community. Sisters, thank you both so much. I appreciate it. Anything we can do, as you know, T, anything I can do to help support you and do anything for you. This is your home now. Lisa, we're gonna get back. We're gonna put some things together, y'all. We're gonna get Lisa back in the lab. We're gonna make her come back to work, do something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your man, Dame the NYDC, host of the Two Mics Up podcast. Just make sure, follow me on IG, Facebook, and Twitter. Two Mics Up is coming back for season 5, y'all. We are working on 5 seasons.
Yes. That's awesome.
We out here, man. We hitting them over the head. Really, I thank you, everyone, for the continued support. Follow Two Mics Up online, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Two Mics Up, because this is on YouTube. But season 5, we back on Mogul Media TV, the network. Make sure if you haven't seen anything, you can go ahead and over to Mogul TV, catch out all of season 4. We just growing, doing bigger and better things. And I'm just going to leave everyone with this, like I always do. May you all stay safe, stay blessed. Mics out.
007.